We all know that the Power Rangers franchise is getting a reboot in 2026, but what no one knows is what the new producers are going to do. There have been many rumors and supposed news stories, but the only real information is that the new Power Rangers series will be created by the producers who created the Percy Jackson series. Other real details are that it will be broadcast on the Disney platform and that it will be aimed at a more mature audience. Despite having this information, it is still unknown whether they will create a new team or use the teams we have known for 30 years. Let's remember that in 2017 there was a reboot of Power Rangers and they used the Mighty Morphin team, but with a darker style. We must also remember that Mighty Morphin is the most famous team and always manages to capture the attention of all fans. The producers can use the Mighty Morphin team, but that doesn't mean they have to use the same actors. This means they can do exactly what the 2017 movie did, use the Mighty Morphin characters and give them a different story. The important detail is not in the use of the characters, but rather the story, and this is where the 2017 movie failed. For many years, we had an alternate story within the Power Rangers franchise, and it's not the comics that have dictated the path. In other franchises, the comics are published first, and then the television series is released. This means that the comic book story is the original story, and the television story is a story inspired by the comics with some changes to make the series more entertaining, as they are two very different formats. Because Power Rangers had no connection to the comics, both stories were very different, even though the comics used the same characters. The most important difference is that the comics are darker, aimed at a more mature audience, and feature new characters due to their very different story. Many important characters were born in the comics that we never had in the television series, and many of these characters are impressive. That's why a great idea for the new 2026 Reboot series is to use the same formula that the comics used. Maybe they don't have to do exactly the same story, they can just use the same formula that the comic book writers used for many years. Although many people might have wanted to see many characters from the comics in a live-action series, the reality is that it would not be a good idea to copy the comic book story exactly. The formula of the comics was to use the characters we already know and simply modify the story to give it a different twist, but at the same time using things that did happen in the original series. This was only at the beginning of the comics, because as the story progressed, everything changed little by little, and the story of the comics reached a point where it was completely different from the story of the television series. Basically, this is the same thing that the new producers can do with the 2026 reboot, use a starting point that we can all remember and then gradually change the story. Doing this will have many positive aspects, as they will be using Power Rangers teams that we already know, characters that we already love, and at the same time, they will give us the dark style that we always wanted to see with those characters. Despite these positives, there are also some negatives, starting with the actors. One of the things that has always happened with Power Rangers is that we become attached to the actors and find it difficult to see another actor playing the same character. This is worse when it comes to the Mighty Morphin Rangers, as no one would want to see another actor playing Tommy Oliver. The other negative point is that the story has to be very good, since you're changing the story of characters we already know, and it's very difficult to convince fans that this character now has a different story. Write in the comments if you prefer the reboot to be based on the comics, using the teams we already know, or if you prefer everything to be completely new. Like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers theories.